Hey Copic fans, welcome to Copic in the Craft Room. Michelle Houghton here. We are going to be doing some coloring today, and with the popularity of my photo tutorial, I'm going to take another look at using fluorescent Copic markers, that series of 8 that are specifically fluorescents. I have some fun images from Tim Holtz that I'm going to play on today, some really popular ones. So if you've got some images you want to try, or just check out those fluorescent markers and see what they're all about, take a peek, continue on, and we'll see what they can do. So we are looking at these fun Copic fluorescent markers. All of these are labeled just like our other markers are. The fluorescent family starts with an F, and then it has 1 or 2 letters right behind it. And that's going to symbolize the color family it is from. So we've got F for fluorescent, YR for yellow, red, and 1. They're either going to have a 1 or a 2. There's 8 of them total. Do you need these? How many markers do you need? That is a question each one of us have to answer for ourselves. They are fun. I will tell you that the YG1, the YR1, the Y1, and the RV1. These 4 truly are fluorescent. I'm gonna hope it shows up well on the video today, but they will glow on your page. The other 4 are bright, crazy bright, but they do not have quite the glowing effect that these 4 do. So I've got a blue green, a violet, and a darker yellow green, a yellow green 2. That's the only one that has a yellow green 1 and a yellow green 2. The yellow green 2 is not quite as vibrant. It still is bright, but not as glowing. I want to kind of show you what I do with these, because obviously these don't have happy blending groups within their little fluorescent family here. Now I could do a YG1, a YG2, and even a Y1, that would work. Or I could do a Y1 and a YR1 to create just some fluorescent images. So for example, I could do, this is FY1, and this is FYR1. And hopefully you can see how as this dries and on those edges, I mean, these colors truly glow. Now, I haven't tried them in the dark, but as they dry, they really just pop off the page. There is something in them that just makes them glow. So you can do some blending just within this small range of colors, the blues, the greens, the yellows. You can do some blending there, but it leaves you pretty limited. So for me, then the question was, what else will they mix with? And then what happens at my desk is this mess. And so I wanted to, as quickly as possible, explain that process. I literally sit and start pulling markers out and scribbling on a piece of scratch paper. This is my Copic Express It paper, but I use it obviously over and over and over until there truly is no space left. So I'm not wasting it, but I create my notes about what's working together. I've got places where I know it's not working. But this is what happens when I'm experimenting. Another place that if you're not a color person, you look at this RV1, FRV1, and you're like, I don't even know where to start, help. A great resource is that new Copic color wheel. It gives you that whole range around a more standardized color wheel that you've got the red, complementary green is across the street, blue, complementary orange is across, but we have our analogous together, meaning those ones that are beside each other on the color wheel that are feeding into each other, and you can see that happening. But this might give you a better starting point of where would I even start? What could I even pull? And obviously the caps aren't a perfect match. This isn't a perfect match to what's on the paper when we color, but it might give you a starting spot. So this new color wheel, Copic color wheel, and you can print those off the site. So I'll pick this little guy out first, and I'm going to start with pink. So I'm starting with my Fluorescent RV1. I'm going to use the chisel nib and fill a lot in, get you a little closer so you can see what's going on. One of the things I love about the Tim Holtz stamps is that he's kind of shown you where to do some shading. I've switched over to an RV14 to add this first layer of shading. RV17 is next, going back in on those edges. And RV19 is the last to come in. I'm going to backtrack. I'm skipping back down to RV14 at this point. And then all the way back down to my Fluorescent RV1 to kind of smooth out those edges. RV14 isn't a perfect jump with that fluorescent, but it actually does a pretty nice job. There'd be some other ones in that pink series you could use. The little beak gets just a touch of the FY one, so Fluorescent Yellow. Starting the tail with V12 and wing, V04, and then the fluorescent that comes in last this time. It's a darker color. It still is going to add some great pop. Bird number 2. Fluorescent Yellow Green 1 is going on the face. This is one of those bright neon colors. It's just going to glow. YG01 is next, and YG03. Small areas, so they're shading really quickly. I'm backtracking through all 3 colors. Next, I decided to go with his body with a darker green color. I'll use the Fluorescent YG, this time 2. So it's the darker of the 2. Get him filled in with that. And then I'm going to use the Fluorescent Blues to do the shading. This first one, the Blue-Green 2, you're not going to see a whole lot of. It's lightening it up. And then I use the FB2, so Fluorescent B, Blue. You're going to see a little bit of that shading come in. And it's really fun. So I backtrack to my green to smooth it out just a little bit, the YG2, FYG2, and then I come back in with my FYG1 to really pop those colors a little bit. His beak again is going to go with FY1, and then this time YR04 is going to come underneath on the beak. FY1 starts the wing and the YR04, so not a fluorescent on the beak and wing, but a second color just to add some dimension. And then YR07 on that wing. The third bird is going to go purple. Again, this time I don't start with a fluorescent. It's got V12, got that chisel nib going, so I know I have a bigger, broad area to fill. And this guy I'm filling in all with that color. V04 is a color that blends really well with that, and it keeps them really bright. And then lastly, this is where I come in with that fluorescent. Now notice how bright, even though it's a darker color, it really brightens it up because of that fluorescent. It's the FV2. I'm going to backtrack now to my V04. I am going to pull that mid-tone out a little further with this step, so I soften the edges but also pull it further. V12 is last to soften up the edges between the V04 and V12. And then the beak is going all the way to the Fluorescent Yellow Green on the top and Fluorescent Yellow underneath. Another little bird coming up. We're going to start with the orange this time. FYR1 is getting the body. Again, a beautiful bright fluorescent that really glows. YR04 is next. You're going to notice right away this is going to be a hard blend. It's not really going to blend in, so I'm going to treat this one differently. YR07 is going into those shaded shadow areas. And then I'm even using a YR18 this time to go into those darkest areas. I go back to my YR04 and then all the way back to my fluorescent, but notice even with some work, this isn't softening as much as I want it to. So this time I'm going to add some stippling, some dots around the edges to really make it look like it's fading in. The wing is getting my Fluorescent Yellow Green 1, that real bright yellow green, and then Fluorescent Yellow Green 2 for some darker areas. I'm going to blend that out with my Fluorescent Yellow Green 1,
And I add that just to touch around his little eye.
So 4 bright fluorescent little birds. I think the image calls for a little craziness. And so it suits. I did some color playing as I worked. You'll notice there was a couple places that it didn't blend as well as I wanted it to. Some of that has to do more with my limitations with my sets. Those are the fluorescents. Do you need them? I don't know. Maybe you want them? Question mark. They're fun and I'm having a great time with them, and especially for some really silly stamps like these. It sure is fun to have in my bag of tricks. So hope you enjoyed that. Hope you learned a few things and hope you are ready to go play and just have fun with your Copics. Enjoy your week. Have a happy, colorful one.